Hey everyone, Effie here. Today I'm going to show you how I made the card on the right over here using our fancy foliage stamp set. This is going to be a one layer card and it's going to be kind of easy once we get all of our elements all set. So before we get started, I'm going to cut out my card panel and I'm just going to measure it using the coordinating die for our fancy foliage. Then I'm going to stamp the first solid layer for our grouped layering set, and I'm going to continuously stamp this 4 times on my card panel. I'm using a combination of our green dye inks to stamp all 4 images. I'm using our Soft Garden, Bright Fern, Basil Mojito, and Everglade Moss. This is our patent pending grouped layering set. So you see all those bars and squares within the stamped image. These are going to help you align and layer the subsequent layers. So after I stamp the first layer, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the second detail layer. These just add little bits of detail within the foliage images. So here I'm just lining up the bars and squares. It's very easy to do. If you have a hard time seeing through your stamp, you can stamp the second darkest layer first and then stamp the solid layer. I did stamp all 4 images using the detail stamp, but I did skip the filming portion of the last 2 just because for time purposes. So once everything is stamped out, I'm going to die cut all 4 sections using the coordinating die. So since this is a grouped layering die, the coordinating die will cut out all the images at once. So I just had to pass this through my die cutting machine 4 times to complete all of the die cutting. Next, I'm going to take our really adorable mini dots background stamp and stamp this onto an A2 size panel, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I stamped it in our Caviar hybrid ink, and I used a Baron tool to help me get a nice, firm, even impression. And our mini dots background is one of my favorite backgrounds. It's very subtle, and it kind of goes with everything. Name something that polka dots do not go with. You can pair them with foliage images, florals, pretty much anything. I love my polka dots, and these mini dots background stamp is really subtle and chic and one of my favorites. So now I'm going to start gluing together my die cuts, and I call this technique chain linking. I don't really know what you guys call it. It's just something that I call it, and I have been using this technique more and more lately because it's easier to glue everything together and then pop it up onto your background using some foam tape. That was my original intention, to pop everything up on that polka dot background, but then at the end I kind of just decided to make this one layer and flat, and I did end up gluing everything down directly onto that polka dot panel. But this chain linking technique, doing all of this beforehand and then putting bits of dimensional foam tape behind that final cluster piece, is much easier than popping everything up individually. So I did want to just show you the technique that I use, and I really was going to pop this up with foam tape, but I kind of was a little lazy, I guess, at this point. So I did glue everything down onto that A2 panel just using liquid adhesive. So once that was down, I just trimmed off all of the excess pieces. Any of these bigger pieces you can glue back onto your panel if you don't want to waste. So here is everything adhered down. This was quite easy once you got the flow of it. And now I'm going to take our Slim Frames A2 die. This is a cover plate die. It's going to cut out all of these awesome frames in one single pass. I'm just going to use the largest one for today's card, and I'm going to set the others aside for future projects. I'm going to put down the glue directly onto that card panel, and then I'll glue down the border frame. And then this happy is from our Ribbons General stamp set, which I have stamped and die cut previously, so I'm just going to use the happy sentiment. And then I'll use the birthday sentiment from the same Ribbons General set, and I'll stamp it onto a sentiment strip. Then I'll just adhere the happy and the birthday sentiment directly onto my base, and my card is complete. I hope you guys enjoyed today's project and video. This was a variation of a card that I made previously, but I didn't make a video for it, but I decided to create today's video to show you the easier method of connecting the foliage pieces together. So here for this card, I had popped everything up individually, and I decided, let me show you guys how I made the easier version by kind of linking everything together with just adhesive and then gluing it down directly. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel because I update it weekly. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.